There is no love lost between Virat Kohli and Gautam Gambhir, and that was clear once again as the two former IPL captains almost came to blows in their last match between RCB and LSG. RCB defended a very low total, and it was quite clear that there was a lot of emotion all around. And Virat Kohli, especially, had made up his mind that he's going to give it back to LSG, to the crowds, and especially to mentor of LSG, Gautam Gambhir, who had tried to shush the crowd last time they beat RCB in Bengaluru. So obviously there was a certain build-up to this clash that took place, and then eventually it really came out with almost a brawl-like situation taking place after the match got over on the sidelines. So Naveen ul Haq and Virat Kohli had a bit of an altercation in the 17th over. And a lot is being said about that as well, whether it was right on part of Virat, whether it was right on part of Naveen ul Haq, how they behaved. But it really spilled over after the match got over. On the sidelines, players were talking to each other, even players from each other's teams, and they were about to shake hands and so on and so forth, when we saw that Virat Kohli was talking to a certain player. He has Gautam Gambhir come from his behind and say, allegedly, "What is it that you're saying?" So Virat Kohli apparently told Gautam Gambhir that I'm not talking to you, I'm not saying anything to you, so why are you getting in the middle of any of this? Gautam Gambhir says that if you say anything to my family, by which he meant his players, his team, then it bothers him as well. And Virat Kohli then apparently sniped at Gautam Gambhir, his former Delhi senior, that in that case, you should learn to mind your family and what it does. And at this stage, it seemed like it could get uglier. Players around them also seemed to sense that, so they kind of got in the middle of it, tried to separate the two, and there was a final shot fired by Gautam Gambhir reportedly where he said, "Do I have to learn from somebody like you now? क्या तू मुझे अब सिखाएगा?" Thankfully, other players intervened, they separated the two. God only knows what could have happened otherwise, but certainly this has divided a lot of opinion on whether senior players like Virat and Gambhir should be behaving like this in the first place, for a situation that really didn't merit anything of this kind. So like I said, there was a bit of a build-up. Clearly Virat had made up his mind he's going to give it back, especially on a day his team was doing well and defending a low total. And he wanted to hit back at Gautam Gambhir as well. Interestingly, he's also said later that if you can't take it, then don't dish it out. So it was clear what his intention was. He has also gone on to say that a lot of what is happening is speculation and perception. Maybe he meant it on what transpired and what people are saying actually transpired between the two players. But like I said, opinion has been divided. You've got players like Sunil Gavaskar, former great, who's saying that fines are not enough. Virat Kohli and Gautam were fined 100% of the match fees. Naveen ul Haq was fined 50% of his match fees. That's of course a protocol that kicks in, and the match umpires and referees will do so. But Sunil Gavaskar believes that it needs to go a little bit beyond that, maybe a couple of games suspension to really set the players right. Somebody like Harbhajan Singh, who's known for Slapgate in the first edition of the IPL, has also come out to say that this was not good for the game of cricket because they're senior players. A lot of people are either on Virat's side, some are on Gautam's side, some are supporting even Naveen ul Haq or criticizing the young player for showing arrogance to a senior like Virat Kohli. Now, whether you have a horse in this race or not, there are some who are just enjoying what has transpired or have no opinion on it at all. But here's the thing, sports cannot be sanitized beyond a point. The reason sports fans throng to the fields and worship their idols is because they want to see that little bit extra from the athletes, and they want to see a little bit of their personalities as well. We cannot have, in the name of the gentleman's game, a boring game where nobody is able to express themselves. Now, it's not a defense on what happened. Surely, lines should not be crossed. But you cannot take emotion out of sport. Then there is no sport left. The only reason it works is because there is a lot of emotion involved. And therefore, to clamp down on players to an extent where they can't, even express a little bit of anger or resentment or things like that may not work for sports, even if it's a gentleman's game. A little bit of personality is good. Athletes should be able to bring about a little bit of their personality on the field, and that's what fans like too. That's what we want to watch and like to watch when we watch sports. As long as lines are not crossed. Certainly lines should not be crossed, and nobody should go beyond a certain point. But without emotion, without a little bit of aggression, without even an altercation from time to time, I don't think sports will have that spice that it often does. So tell us in the comments, what do you think? Who was right? Was this avoidable completely, or is this just part of the game?